So it's August 5th, Friday, and the cards I picked today were Freya. It's about being bold and unleashing your adventurous side. And then I picked the Emperor. The Emperor stands for the sun. He stands for the masculine aspect, like discipline and structure and order. They both have that quality of like it's time to take action and be dynamic and decisive. And it's interesting. So, told you the other day I decided on a date for this show, and yesterday I realized I looked it up, and October 15th is actually it's going to be a full moon that night, which is very significant to me because the moon is an archetype that I feel very close to, and one of the stories that I might be sharing in the show has to do with the moon. So yeah, the full moon date is actually October 16th, but it's at like 12:30 a.m. So it's pretty much the night of the 15th. So that made me happy because I didn't plan that. And what's interesting is so on my altar, I've had this drawing, painting thing of myself as this golden queen. Yeah, it says going to a place where you already are. And the idea was yeah, waking up to who I really am. But last night I just felt like it was time to put something else on the altar. And so this is a drawing that a painting I did a couple months ago. It's based off of a picture of myself when I was little, like 5 years old in daycare center. And then I just put these flower petals around it without thinking too much about it. There was like a flower around that was wilting, and the colors were beautiful, so I just put it around it. But it struck me today looking at it that it looks like a headdress. Like it has a very Native American look about it. And in that photo of me, I actually look very Native American in that photo as well. I might include that in the video. And so, I'm still sitting with my painting. While looking at it last night, I noticed this image of, to me, this looks like a stingray. The head is pointing down, and this is its tail. And I see this as like, I don't know, almost like an egg shape. So the stingray is about, going to the bottom. They are large and they're deadly. Their sting is poisonous, but they don't attack unless, provoked severely. And they usually go deep underwater and remain kind of unseen. And there's also a fox in the painting, which I see a lot. I'll show you that another time. But the fox also has that same message of being like adaptable and kind of knowing when to be seen and when to be unseen. So I'm just sitting with that, like, I'm feeling like it's the message to kind of lay low. Like even these videos, I was inspired to make them, but I'm not actually going to release them in the public yet. I'm just making them. And also the idea of going deep under the turbulence that's at the top. Like when the waves are crashing and it's scary and hard to like find your way. But if you dive deep enough, it's still and calm. And I run a lot of emotions, so I feel like it's also a message to just, let the emotions kind of do their thing, but to stay aware of what's underneath it all. And also, this egg, it's like I'm creating this new thing with this show, and it's something that wants to be birthed through me, because I know it's a big part of it is I'm channeling the voice of Mother Earth. Protect it, to protect the egg, like to, give myself space and quiet and calm to create and not let that space be, infiltrated by, like right now, a couple people in my life are asking me for things, and there's a part of me that's like, I should do them because I want to be supportive and help. But there's another part that feels very much like, I feel like this is reminding me, like, no, what wants to be created through you is going to support the world. And it's important for me to honor that and not let other people's agendas direct what wants to be created through me. And then this other thing that was really cool is, so yesterday I was talking to my friend Solea about a couple of poems that I've written recently, kind of as an exploration of the story, the creation story of Adam and Eve. And, you know, as my name is Eve and it's related to that original Eve archetype, I've been really looking at, you know, was the fall about, and you know, what is paradise, and what would a new Garden of Eden look like? A paradise in which it doesn't stay the same. Like, what is the evolution of that original story? So I have a lot of ideas around it, and so I'm talking to her about it, and kind of saying, like, I don't really know what the show is going to be about, but, you know, and I'm feeling self-conscious about sharing these kind of like rough draft poems and ideas, but I'm sharing them with her, and she sends me this message saying, wake up, Eve, you know, like, you're already, it's already all there, like the things that are coming out of your mouth, like it's already all there. So it was really encouraging and sweet. But what was really fascinating is, so I was playing around with this Korean drum that I have, and there's a part in this moon story where the earth sings a lullaby to the moon, and I sing it. It's in Korean and English, because Korean is like the language I grew, kind of more language of my heart, because my parents speak Korean to me, and also Korean itself is it's a much more earthy language. It's much more sensual and organic, less analytic, you know. So it lends easily to storytelling, and it carries much more emotion for me. So anyway, I have the earth singing to the moon in Korean, but I didn't really sing it, like they're just words. So I thought, you know, I'd practice actually kind of singing it. And specifically in this, what I'm thinking of is this type of music called pansori. So in Korea, there's a folk music called pansori, and it is kind of seen as like opera. There's like one person singing for hours, and it's usually done, they do like one of, you know, 5 or 6 classical tales. And I was really moved by this when I first heard it. It's like an ancient tradition, and it's supposed to take years and years of classical training, just like opera. But what I liked about it is not about sounding good. It's more about evoking emotion. It's like the best pansori singers are the ones apparently who have suffered the most, like people who sing the blues, you know. It's like, and it's a lot like, it's actually more like rapping, like, because I found out the origins of it, where it was for the common people, and it was like someone who was talking about what was going on, and actually the true origin is that they were shamans. They were speaking for like the elements of nature and the ancestors, and you know, expressing the sadness and the hardship and the joy for the whole community. So I want to sing new legends, and I want to bring it to everyone, not just Koreans. So anyway, so there's this one part in this, but I don't know how to do it. Like, I have no experience in this. I just have a knowing inside, you know, that this is what I'm here to do. So, and this is what I mean about trusting, like, that the treasure is inside, because yeah, already my mom is like, you know, Korean people aren't going to respect that. Like, if you're going to play the drum, you have to like know how to play the drum. And if you're going to be a pansori singer, I mean, I would have needed to start training when I was like young, and, you know, do that all day long. And I was like, no, like, what I'm doing is something new. It's not about being a good singer or instrumentalist. it's about allowing something to come through. And honestly, I feel like I've probably had other lifetimes where I've done the training. So I'm just kind of like hitting the drum and just kind of saying these words in Korean without really knowing what I'm doing and just kind of feeling it out. And there's this one line where it says, wake up now to who you are. It's time to rise and meet your star. And when I said it in Korean, I just kind of automatically said it really loud. Like I was like yelling it, and it reverberated in my room, and I felt amazing. It just felt right. So I was like, okay, well, that part I know is going to be in the show, you know? And when my friend Solea sent me that message saying, you know, like, wake up, Eve. Like, wake up. Like, you do know what this show is about. It was like a reflection of that. And so yeah, I feel really happy about that. And so today, this morning, I sang it again, and it came out that way again, that part. And then afterwards, I started crying a little bit. The words right after that are, and remember, there's nothing to fear. For wherever you go, I'm already here. I'm always here. So it's like the earth is saying, I'm always by your side. I'm always supporting you. And I just cried, felt that, yeah, I'm reminding myself that I am supported by the entire planet, you know, and like all of life supports us. And then I was thinking about my biological mom and how she supports me. So, yeah, and I'm doing all this, I'm singing, you know, and like saying these words in front of this painting. So it's something magical is happening. And then I was inspired to start a third story. So I wrote this moon story a few years ago on the eclipse under the Pisces moon. My moon sign is in Pisces, and it was very significant to me. And then I ended up sharing that story in the Philippines in a special place under the full moon on 2/22, February 22nd. And then it was like time for a new story. And then I wrote The Rebirth of the Golden Queen, which has been totally working me and is partly of how my new name came in, Eve. She is the Golden Queen. And I knew that it was another story was coming, but I started it today. And I feel like that's part of the being bold. And yeah, it's like we're here to write our own script. So more later. Bye. So it also felt significant to include to have the picture of the child up, the painting of myself as a child with the petals around her head, because it seems like, okay, now the new queen, the rebirth of the Golden Queen, like she's born, and now she's a child. And just as like same thing with the world. So like we've entered the new kingdom, but now what does that look and feel like, this new world we're creating? And it's also related to I was looking at a video of Drumvalo, and he was talking about how, you know, the Kundalini rising and the new grid of Earth, it actually happened, you know, a few years ago, but cosmic time is slow, and so, you know, the baby's only like a minute or 2 minutes old, even though it's been years, and so we're still feeling into and experiencing what it's like to be in a new world where the divine feminine is awake and alive, and there's an integration between the masculine and the feminine. And also this idea that, you know, we are waking up to who we already are. So the child, you know, the picture of a child, it's like, it's new, but at the same time, it's also the blueprint, you know, the treasure and the knowledge that we are born with, that we were awake to as children, that innocence, you know, that place of pure potentiality and creation. And that is what we are kind of waking into, you know, the truth of what's always been. Yes.